Welcome and peace be with you. The discussion today is one of the most important discussions in Tibb, and that is discussing the concept of temperament. In the previous discussion on the Tibb principles of creation, the perfection of creation was highlighted in that everything that had been created has an ideal temperament with an appropriate structure to perform specific functions. The concept of temperament is one of the unrivaled features of Tibb, and Hippocrates recognizes in his famous saying, "It's more important to know what sort of a person has a disease than to know what sort of disease a person has." Ultimately, this saying describes temperament or the uniqueness of an individual and how important it is to know the person and not only the disease the person has. What does temperament tell you? Temperament provides insights into the strengths and weaknesses of an individual, and more specifically, the predisposition or the risk factors that the illness will have to illness conditions. So what is temperament? Temperament is a combination of a person's physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual attributes. We are all aware of the many differences between ourselves. When someone may never feel cold, another may always be wearing a jersey. One person may hate mornings and can stay up all night, whilst another may love getting up at dawn. Each of us has our own habits, likes, dislikes, interests, and skills. All of these features, characteristics, and quirks make up our unique disposition of temperament. Unlike Western medicine, which has a one-size-fits-all, in Tibb, people are identified according to the different temperamental types. Now let's look at what are the factors determining temperament. First of all, date and time of birth. We're all aware that certain people born under a certain star sign have got similar personality traits or similar styles. Then secondly, diet during pregnancy will also have an influence on a person's temperament. But however, obviously, hereditary factors are the most important, of course, depending on whether the individual falls on the mother or the father or the combination of both. Now that we have seen what are the factors that determine the different temperaments, Galen, who hypothesized the concept of temperament, in his understanding, he said that although each person is as unique as his fingerprint, Galen categorized people into 4 different temperamental types. Firstly, sanguineous, phlegmatic, melancholic, and bilious. Having highlighted that Galen broadly described 4 temperamental types, sanguineous, phlegmatic, melancholic, and bilious, as personality traits are an important consideration in an individual's temperament, the poem by Florence Latour highlights these traits. Firstly, in her poem she says, "God could have made us all sanguineous. We could have lots of fun but accomplish little. He could have made us all melancholics. We would have been organized and chartered but not very cheerful. He could have made us all bilious. We would have been set to lead but impatient that no one would follow. He could have made us all phlegmatic. We would have had a perfect world but not much enthusiasm for life. Now we need each temperament for the total functioning of the body. Each part should do its work to unify the action and produce harmonious results." The poem also tells us that each of us may have some personality traits of the other temperaments to a lesser extent. In reality, they have the dominance of one type of temperament and a subdominance of a second type. There's also a smaller percentage of a third type and an even less of the last. Also included is a video link done by Joy Rashdin, which demonstrates the different personality traits.
Hi, I must know everything. I must one of those savvy oaks now. I've got the iPad, I'm on the internet and stuff. And then I stumble upon these words called holistic health, my bro. Huh? Holistic health. There's in a big word. It sounds like a new religion that they made up in Peru with lots of holes in it. So I went to my mother and I said, "Ma, do you know these words holistic health?" Thinking that she doesn't know. But she knows. She's asking me where I've been. I've been too much on Twitter and Facebook and stuff and in the drama. And then I thought to myself, no, I must go Google this. So I go Google it and I come across Tibb, my bro, on the internet. And they break it down for you, most. Huh? The 4 different personality traits. And each person have that personality. Because you know a person with that type of personality trait. Maybe your uncle, your auntie, your daughter, your mistress, whoever. They have this personality traits. And they broke it down for me nicely on Tibb. And it's 4. And the one is sanguinous, bilious, phlegmatic, and melancholic. That's the 4. That alone isn't difficult to remember and to pronounce. It sounds like a sickness on its own, my bro. But I went into it and I studied and I read. And then I thought to myself, no, I'm going to share my knowledge that I've got most here from with you people. And I'm not going to tell you, I'm going to show you. Hey, you guys are almost there. Like a day outside, huh? How nice is it outside, huh? I can smell that perfume, man. It's very nice perfume that you got on there, man. Ah! Yeah, somebody got me lekker out. They put a thing on the tech on my chair, yeah. You clever, you. That almost worked, but thank you for making me feel so lekker and welcome here today, man. Who the hell had the audacity to put this tech on my chair? Huh? Do you know who I am? Huh? I will get you, I know where you stay, and I will... Life is like a tech, nah? Yeah, it's hard and short and very painful. See, so there you have it, huh? The 4 types of personality traits a person might have. Bilious, sanguinous, phlegmatic, and melancholic. So just think about what one are you and think about how you react in certain situations and how other people react in that same situation, and maybe it will help you. Holistic health.
Having looked at the video link as well as the poem by Prof. The poem, together with the video, highlights the fact that each of the temperamental types has distinguishing personality traits. For example, the sanguinous is a typical extrovert, fun-loving person. Melancholics are analytical and philosophical. The bilious person is determined and prone to anger, whereas the phlegmatic type is a calm and prefers not to make a scene. Now let us look at the qualities associated with the 4 temperamental types. Although, as mentioned previously, the overall quality of the human being is hot and moist, but differences exist within the 4 temperamental types, which is obvious because we know some people feel hotter and other people feel colder. So the picture on the side will tell you that the sanguinous temperament has got qualities of hot and moist, phlegmatic has cold and moist qualities, bilious has hot and dry qualities, and the melancholic is associated with cold and dry. And it's interesting to note that the qualities are reflective of their personality traits. For example, the bilious person with hot and dry qualities is automatically inclined to have a fiery nature and could be labeled a hot-natured person, whereas a phlegmatic person with cold and moist qualities will be cool and calm and, as often said, as cool as a cucumber. Now, identifying an individual's temperamental combination, we know that opposite qualities cannot exist as in nature. So similarly, when it comes to a temperamental combination, if you look at the sanguinous, which is hot and moist, melancholic, which is cold and dry, obviously a person's dominant temperament of sanguinous therefore cannot have a subdominance of melancholic. Right? What is possible is sanguinous will have a subdominant of a phlegmatic or a bilious. Right? I often mention in my workshops that if a person makes the choice of having a sanguinous dominant and a subdominant melancholic, this person is a candidate for schizophrenia because it's not possible. Okay. Now, in order to identify temperamental combinations, let's look at three broad categories that will be assisting in this identification. These include physical appearance, behavioral tendencies, emotional traits. Now, if you look at physical appearance, some are big, some are small, some are healthy, we're all different sizes, different shapes, okay? Let's look at preferences. Some people prefer hot weather, other people prefer cold weather, some people like hot drinks, other people can't handle drinks which are too cold. Then if you look at personality traits, this is of course one of the most important aspects when identifying your temperament. As you can see, some are angry, some are happy, etc., etc. So as per the previous poem that you read, as well as the video link, personality traits are extremely important. Now let's provide details of the three main categories. Let's first look at the sanguinous person, bearing in mind that he's got hot and moist qualities. So let's look at the physical appearance. These people have a medium to large frame, more muscle, they have a macho walk, they have a reddish or a shiny complexion. Obviously, a reddish is for people with a light skin. People with a dark skin will have a shiny complexion. They are warm and moist to touch on the skin. Speech, clear and moderate. Now, if you look at the sanguinous person, because they've got hot and moist qualities, their tendencies, they automatically prefer cool and dry weather, cold drinks, they have a healthy appetite, 6 to 8 hours moderate to deep sleep. And the illnesses they are inclined to are illnesses such as hypertension and diabetes. And now if you look at the personality traits, these sanguinous people are typical extroverts, carefree, persuasive, sociable, talkative, outgoing, optimistic. These are what we can call the get acknowledged person, the life of the party. They also tend to be disorganized and tend to exaggerate. Let's look at the categories of the phlegmatic person, cold and moist qualities. Physical appearance, medium to large frame, but slightly more fat, a slow walk, pale complexion, cold, soft and moist dry skin texture. Speech is slow and soft. And we look at their tendencies. Because they've got cold and moist qualities, they prefer hot and dry weather, hot drinks, they have a low appetite, and they need at least 8 hours of a sound, deep sleep. Illnesses are inclined to flame-related disorders, lethargy, etc. Now, their personality traits, they are calm, accommodating, introvert, accommodating, patient, relaxed, good listeners. They may be indecisive. These are the typical get-along persons. And unfortunately, being that way, they can be pushovers, they can be shy. Let's look at the melancholic temperament, who has cold and dry qualities. Their physical appearance, they have a thin, bony frame and a quick, anxious walk, cold and dry skin texture, their speech, fast, soft or loud. Now, because they've got cold and dry qualities associated with the temperament, they automatically prefer humid, hot and moist weather, hot drinks. They like fixed meal times, 5 to 6 hours sleep. Illnesses inclined to insomnia, gas-related illnesses, bone and joint conditions. Their personality traits: philosophical, introvert, logical, analytical, organized, imaginative. These are the get-it-right people. They are also perfectionists, and sometimes in their nature they become anxious and are very skeptical people. Finally, if you look at the three categories of the bilious type with hot and dry qualities, they have a medium frame, lean. They are the people with a firm walk, and because and hot and dry skin texture. Their speech is loud because ultimately they always want to command things. Now, because of the hot and dry qualities associated with the temperament, they automatically prefer cool and moist weather, cold drinks. They have a healthy appetite. They cannot skip meals. They need 5 to 6 hours of sound sleep. Illnesses inclined to stress, anxiety, hay fever. And now if you look at their personality traits, typical extrovert, born leaders, resourceful, energetic, outspoken, dominant. They are the get-it-done person. They want everything done, not tomorrow, today, now. They can be short-tempered, critical, impatient, and irritable. This is the selected information of the 4 temperamental types. Followed with this is a detailed chart which gives you where everything is broken down. And of course, using this chart, you can actually determine your dominant and subdominant temperamental, and of course by looking at all the ticks that you might put and adding them up. Obviously, where you have the most ticks will be your dominant, and the second number will be your subdominant temperament. However, before you fill in the chart, there are some points to consider. Firstly, remember that each person is a combination of all 4 temperaments with a dominant and a subdominant temperament, which is next to each other, not opposite. Also remember that physical appearance is best in the early years, either 20 and above, but as with age, of course, and certain medications such as cortisone, the physical appearance can change. Thirdly, do not confuse habits with tendencies. Certain habits may be acquired due to circumstances. What is common nowadays is when you go to a restaurant, and invariably when you ask for something to drink, that they always put in ice in there. But you have to know what you actually prefer. You prefer ice or you don't prefer ice, right? Now, the 4th point is personality traits. This is an important criteria, should be identified when one is relaxed and how friends and family members see you. When determining temperament, base it on how you really are and not how you wish you were. Because in other words, honesty is absolutely essential in determining your dominant and subdominant temperament. Now let's look at the next slide, which talks about the qualities associated with a temperamental combination. The adjacent diagram illustrates an individual with a dominant, sanguineous, and a subdominant temperamental combination, indicated with a line marked X. If you look at this picture now, we see that the person has an overall dominant quality of moistness, because they're falling in the section with moistness. Then less heat, followed by coldness and the least amount of dryness. However, similarly, an individual with a dominant phlegmatic and a subdominant sanguineous, marked with Y on the picture, also has an overall quality of moistness, but now followed with cold, then heat, and also the least amount of dryness. So both temperamental combinations have a dominant quality of moistness and the least quality of dryness. Now, just as each person has a unique temperamental combination, each person also has a unique qualitative state with a dominant quality, less of the 2 adjacent qualities, and the least of the opposite quality. Now, changes to this ideal qualitative state, especially an increase in the dominant quality, will have a negative effect on the individual's health, whereas an increase in the opposite least quality will be beneficial for this person. For example, in the sanguineous phlegmatic temperamental combination, we are aware that these temperament people are automatically uncomfortable in humid weather because of the moistness linked to their temperament. Similarly, a bilious melancholic temperamental combination we know will feel uncomfortable in dry weather. Now, the rule to remember, and this rule is elaborated on in the health promotion, an excess of the dominant quality associated with an individual's temperamental combination will negatively affect him or her the fastest and to the greatest extent. Knowing an individual's temperamental combination and qualities, especially the dominant quality, allows individuals to make positive choices in lifestyle that will be benefit to their health and obviously with an improved quality of life. Now this sums up the practice of Tibb. The practice of Tibb revolves around the art and skill of identifying a person's individual temperamental combination and associated qualities, combined with the science and practice of serving his or her vices to maintain their particular ideal state of health. In summary, from the above discussion, we understand that each individual has a dominant and a subdominant temperamental combination. In addition, each temperamental combination has an ideal qualitative state made up of the four qualities with one dominant quality and an opposite least quality. The significance of the dominant quality associated with an individual's temperamental combination will be elaborated on in the health promotion link, wherein the healthy living programs for the different temperamental combinations are listed. Your next step will be eventually going to this link to empower yourself to stay healthy and well. Thank you.